So I'm here at the Royal Liver Building. It is part of the fantastic Royal Liver Building 360 tour, where you can get some of the best views of the city, including Bramley-Moore Dock. You can come up here and just stand there and watch it get built. I mean, not for like 2 years. I mean, that cost you a fortune, but you can come up here and see Bramley-Moore Dock getting built, as well as the rest of this beautiful city. You can see Goodison Park. You can see the other stain as well over there. You know, Everton's former ground, because they're all Everton's former ground.
Have you stood in the way so you can't see it?
Probably.
It's like when you built that box.
We built that box. So I'm joined by Paul Mason from Redmen TV to discuss this season coming, the Premier League. What will Everton do? What will Liverpool do? No one actually cares what Liverpool will do. It's all about Everton, isn't it? Let's have a chat about it now.
Look, we're going to talk about the season coming up.
Do we have to?
Yeah, I know. Genuinely, I did have this. You know, there was a little bit more optimism when we planned this. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's just been written off for 3 months.
Well, I mean, we'll wait and see whether it is 3 months, but he's been written off with a knee injury, which isn't great start to the season.
Yeah.
I actually felt optimistic this week.
I
really did, just this week.
Yeah.
After travelling over to the States and seeing the pre-season over there, wasn't filled with much hope. But the last couple of weeks, with a couple of signings, and I was feeling a little bit more buoyant. But obviously, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is injured, and it's for any length of time, particular length of time, it's going to be really tough for us.
Well, let's talk about the bottom end of the Premier League then.
Thanks, mate.
That's a nice segue. How are you feeling about Everton's chances? Have you looked much at the teams around, or have you very much like see no evil, hear no evil?
No, everyone seems to be batting players, which is really scary. Everyone seems to be improving. There's not many that haven't dipped into the transfer market, and that is a little bit worrying when you think of where Everton finished last season. You know, even Leeds, who were the only team who finished below us of the current teams who stayed up, they obviously sold 2 of their better players, but went out and invested in a lot of young talent. So from that point of view, it is worrying. But Everton, as I said, have in the last couple of weeks gone out there and bought a couple of players, and I think this is our end of the market now.
Yeah.
This is where, you know, players who are surplus to requirements, are teams that are going to finish above us are going to be available, and clubs are going to get a little bit more desperate and want to just get rid of players. I think that's where we'll start dipping in. And I think for us, I don't think we've got a terrible starting 11. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's great either. I think it's below that. I think what we saw last season with the injuries is Everton's squad is really, really weak.
Well, it's the lack of Richarlison. You know, if you've got no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I know that's not planned for, but he's the guy who stepped into the breach in the absence of Calvert-Lewin. Him and Rondon, obviously, but, you know.
Rondon.
I know. What a man. He had a really good cameo against United at Old Trafford. You looked quite good in that game.
Yeah,
he did.
If you say so.
He looked all right. But yeah, that's the problems he's facing. But you look around at the other teams there, and you're looking at the teams coming up, because that's the thing. We all start season with optimism. I mean, even like under Rafa last year, you know, it wasn't. No one thought you'd be in a relegation fight.
Yeah.
So is that what this is this season? Is Frank Lampard going into this season thinking staying up should be first and foremost, or is he the kind of guy who's thinking, well, I've done that now, I'm going to get to do my thing? And I imagine his thing in his head is further up the table.
Yeah, listen, I think Everton, the whole thing has been put on hold till, you know, the stadium over to my right gets built, so we can start bringing some serious money in. You can see it. You can see it, mate.
Can
it's been put on hold, I think, for the time being, and I think that's what sort of the plan was by bringing Rafa Benitez, was just mothballing everything for 3 years. It didn't work, and fans, you know, once we started getting some bad results, you know, any support that was there for him was gone. I think Frank's got loads of support from the fan base with what happened at the back end of last season, and you've got to just keep that going if you can, and that's where I suppose pre-season's a difficult one, because it is only pre-season, but you've got to get it right. And with the you
can never make cast iron judgments, but also you can see deficiencies.
Yeah, and that's always the hard part. I think the other side of it is, with the season starting so early as well, and having so many games in August, it's also going to be really hard to judge. You know, a lot of teams haven't had a lot of pre-season games as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. And Everton won't do. You know, they won't buy. I think they'll still buy 2 or 3 late. So that still means you don't. Right now, I don't know what Everton are capable of, or where exactly we're going to finish.
I suppose we're hoping that the teams that come up are crap.
But that's the problem, isn't it? Nottingham Forest have bought like 13 players. I've no idea what they're going to do.
That shocked me, actually, because I was aware of the headline signings, and it's easy because Dean Henderson, good signing, get a good goalkeeper in there. They brought Nico Williams from Liverpool, and they brought Taiwo Awoniyi, who was a former Liverpool forward. I bet he never got a work permit to play for us, but he was knocking them in the Bundesliga. That's all shrewd business, but you're right, they've blanket bought a ton of players just to make the numbers up, so no one knows what they're going to be like. There's a party that immediately writes Bournemouth off because, as much as they had a decent run last time out, but they feel like for that, and Fulham similarly. I mean, I'm sure you'll have there's a sneaky undercurrent there with Marco Silva coming back up, isn't there? That he could end up being in a relegation scrap with Everton, and he'll have a bit of a point to prove.
It's going to be tough for Baz. He really does hold a candle for Marcos.
Holds a candle? Yeah. Oh, really?
Really.
He's a decent manager, isn't he?
Yeah, he just didn't have any personality when he was at Everton. That was his big problem. He didn't know how to communicate with the fan base, and I think when times got tough, and whether we would saw him out sacking him, I don't think there was any backing for him because he just hadn't seeped into the fan base. Yeah. Whereas, look at what Frank Lampard's done. If
he's let you greet the coaches,
he's fantastic. As a man for parking coaches, he's done really, really well. I've never known a manager to sit in the front seat of a coach before, which is a bit worrying. I just wonder whether he's got his license, but no one ever. He might need it in 6 months. No, I find it really hard to judge this season. It's such a strange season with that gap in the middle as well.
So, I mean, in my head, the contenders for the drop are obviously the 3 teams that have come up. I mean, I spoke to people when we did the overlap the other day, and a lot of people had Everton not comfortably staying up, but not in the bottom, not truly fighting for it. But I can't see how they're not, because I don't see how the side's significantly improved. You've got a better vibe, which will help. The fans being a bit more on side will help, and Lampard's more established. Leeds, again, another totally unknown quantity. So I think they'll be in it. Southampton could be drawn into it.
Definitely.
Brentford might get drawn into it. There we go. We've managed to survive this without being deafened. There we go. Good. That was my one favour, this one. And hopefully I didn't jump 3 feet in the air, which is what I did when we came to do the recce here. There's a bunch of teams, is what I'm kind of saying. I think there's probably 6, 7 or more teams who could conceivably get dragged in.
I think anyone in the bottom half will have to look over their shoulder. But for us, going back to what you're saying there, is we've sold our goals, and we've got another one going into the season. Our other goal scorer is injured. There's no other goals in this team. That's what worries me. Is who's going to score the goals, and that's where at the back we're going to be much tighter. And I think we look a little bit better at the back. I think James Tarkowski is actually a really good signing.
He's a defender,
a really clever signing. He's a leader though. Yeah. He's a leader. He's someone who can tell the fella next to him not to run into him, which seems to happen a lot at Everton. Kick the ball over there, mate. That kind of thing. So I'm optimistic that we're gonna be a little bit better at the back, but it is ultimately about putting the ball in the back of the net. And you do look at a few teams down the bottom, you think, who's going to do that job? And they might have, you look at someone like Brentford, you might think, well, they've got deficiencies, but they do have a couple of lads who can score goals. And the likes of Leeds, I'm not sure whether they do. You mentioned Southampton.
Stays fit,
you mentioned Southampton as well. They're another one. I'm not sure if they've got too many goal scorers in their team. They've bought really young, so I can understand why people are talking about Everton, because take Richarlison out the team, take Dom out the team now, and you look at it and think, who's going to put the ball in the net?
Well, let's look further up then, just to spare you the misery. Well, actually, so not really, because we'll start with Newcastle, who of course you loathe and can't stand to see.
I don't really care. I think everyone loathes them now.
Yeah, well, that'll come in due course. I guess it's the team. You've got the teams who are going to be looking to break into your. Do you reckon there's any breaking into those European places? We're talking the top 7. 7th is Conference League. West Ham finished there last season. Yeah. I can't see how any of the 6 above get worse. No. And West Ham, look, they've strengthened as well to another season under Moyes. They've got the continuity. But you're probably looking at, I mean, it sounds mad to say it out loud, it's the first name of the team to name, but Brighton would be looking to improve. Villa will look to improve. Newcastle do the same. Leicester finished 8th. I mean, they've gone from being a team that missed out on Champions League by 1 place to being a team that's 8th in the league. I think Brendan Rodgers has fucked it at Leicester, if I'm being honest.
I think he's got issues, real issues. There seems to be problems in the background there. Players, Schmeichel going to Nice. I mean, who's seen that coming? Yeah. Newcastle are knocking on the door for Maddison. Yeah. Jamie Vardy, he's got to pay a big big bill.
There's defo a universe where Brendan Rodgers tries to engineer a move to Newcastle himself, isn't there, before the end of the season? Like just with
sell all the players to them.
At Lurch Point, where it's the worst thing you can possibly leave. It's the worst time to leave. You'll leave a month before the end of the season.
No, I think Leicester, I think they'll be in the bottom half this season, but Newcastle definitely got a chance of set. I think a lot of teams have got a chance of 7th. I think a lot of teams will fancy it. Because that top 6, I think, is sorted, absolutely sorted. I mean, that's going to be very, very interesting. But I think West Ham got a great chance. But the Europa Conference, how much will that get in the way? And then below that, Villa will fancy it, Gerrard will fancy it. I think even someone like Crystal Palace, they'll be thinking, we'll do all right this season.
This is the thing. Another season under Vieira. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of change around because they haven't got having players on loan makes a big difference in terms of what you're doing, but they've got so much young, pacey, exciting talent up front, and Vieira's got that aura. Everyone's looking at Gerrard as like, will he be the next Liverpool manager? Wouldn't shock me if City have got an eye on Vieira as the next next potential City manager down the line as well. Let's talk the top end then. I want to talk about Man United because it's my second favourite topic, is Man United being rubbish. The Ronaldo stuff, mad that, isn't it?
He's mad.
Yeah.
Where does he think he's going? Where does he think he's signing that play Champions League football that will offer him the wages?
Do you think he's just got a combination of his own ego, but also the people he's built up around him who've just got him convinced that, of course, people are coming for you because you're Cristiano Ronaldo. Because, I can't... you got Atletico Madrid fans protesting. Yeah, he's not welcome here and all that kind of stuff, which is mad. It's not like we don't want... Yeah, there's one thing to say, I'm not keen on that. Yeah. There's another thing to actively protest against it.
Yeah. I am absolutely desperate for him to sign for Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah. Without... they should just make that happen.
That's FIFA should make that happen. That's escape to victory. That's the new fit. That's they've got everyone. It would just be the greatest ending to Messi and his careers playing together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little bit late. It's the old, it's the Mayweather, fighting against Pacquiao kind of scenario. But that would be amazing.
Yeah, no,
that's the only one I want to see.
It's like if you had that much money, because the money doesn't matter. And I know there's things like minutes on the pitch and Kylian Mbappe and there's Neymar and there's other factors at play, but honestly the idea that, you know what, Neymar doesn't want to be there, they don't really like Neymar anymore. I love the idea of him being the one who his transfer ruined world football, and I like the fact that
Coutinho to Barcelona ruined world football,
but it was a knock-on impact of Barcelona having cash to burn from the Neymar stuff. But the idea of him getting booted just so Ronaldo can come in and play one season with Messi,
amazing.
And not pass to each other.
Could you imagine though?
Can you imagine them in the Champions League where Ronaldo he's tackling Messi so he can't get closer to him on his goals?
Could you imagine though if they signed him? You wouldn't be able to get a ticket. There'd be no chance of getting tickets. They could say everyone would be glued to their games every week. Even in the French league. I mean, the French league itself should sanction that move.
We'll cover this. Yeah, it's fine.
Get Uber Eats to sort it out. They sponsor them. I'd love that to happen. I know it won't because they've now got a sensible manager.
Yeah,
but
it's just where what level does he end up at? Because quite clearly he can't go back to Man United, and this is why I find the Man United thing fascinating. About he's just undermining everything they do. The manager looks weak. The fact that they're having to draft Fergie in to try and sort things out, which I just think is great because he needs binning off as well. It's just the whole thing's wonderful.
I suppose the most heartbreaking thing is 15 years ago we nailed on to sign for Everton.
Yeah,
he just get on the phone and go, come on, the cast off from Man United.
The Phil Neville route, as we go.
Of course, we're having him. Maybe that's where they'll go, West Ham.
Yeah.
No, I think he's just been. I just think he's. I wouldn't say he's been mismanaged because he obviously manages himself.
Yeah.
But he obviously thought he was clubs.
I wonder if there's just a world where he holds on until the final teams for the group stages are decided, and then he knows exactly what his pool is.
Celtic.
20 years ago, 25 years ago, that would have been the move as well. He could have gone and been the next Henrik Larsson.
Yeah, definitely.
Could have been the next Paolo Negri. You know what I mean? It's that's because at the moment there's still a bunch of clubs who obviously will go through third qualifying round or whatever, probably from second at this point. But he's going to end up at someone who's too crap for Cristiano Ronaldo, even though they're a Champions League
I think how he
team.
turns it round is he goes to a Portuguese club who were playing in the Champions League. That's how you win the PR back, and you start telling everyone that was what I was always trying to do. I wanted my romantic return back to Portugal, Sporting Lisbon, whatever, and that's what that's how he used to spin that round. But yeah, for Man United itself, it is a mess because he is their centre forward. And they've not been able to get centre midfielder in that they want. Okay, they've brought a few in at the back, but they are just Everton on steroids.
Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, 3 clubs I have no love for in any way, shape or form. And I've said this long before, by the way, and I will put this out on video because I'm comfortable saying this. I would much rather Everton be in European football than any of them knobheads. Sadly, there's nothing I can do that's going to make that happen, unfortunately. Not on anyone in football in the world. Short of like a magic lamp is going to make that happen anytime soon. But even so, they probably wish for the wrong thing.
No, we'd find the lamp and then massively overbid for it. Like, massively. And then give the genie like massive wages.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It turns out he just doesn't really want to do it anymore. Doesn't really want to work for it. I've quite enjoyed how much they all hate each other and how much there's the hatred and the disrespect towards both Spurs and Arsenal in different ways. I've got a sneaky feeling Chelsea are going to combust this season, but I think Arsenal have got this one last shot under Arteta to get themselves into the top 4, because if not, I can see him being on the brand. He's going to be the next Leicester manager before he's the next City manager. If that goes that way.
think Arsenal are building something genuinely. How much is it going to be undermined by the documentary though in the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah.
How much is that going to play a part in? Because I know people go, but it will do, because people will just start seeing the insides and going, this I'm not sure about this. And we've already seen clips already. I mean,
loves You'll Never Walk Alone.
I mean, if he was going to play Never You Walk Alone, surely he should have played it before the players come on.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
not like we run around to
and then the whole pitch went silent for the rest of 90 minutes. That's how it works in Anfield, isn't it?
I mean, maybe in the 90s when you used to go to football games at Anfield. Yeah, not so much. It was certainly like that when you played there in 1993. Did you play
1990. I'm a bit older than that. No, I think Arsenal are building something, and I could see them, because Chelsea are not had a good summer. I know they've brought in decent players, but they've not necessarily brought in the targets they wanted. A few of them have got away, and we've got them first game, and I'm glad we've got them first game, because I still think that they're not quite where they need to be. The results in pre-season, I know you shouldn't always judge it, but it's been a little bit weird. Like, they got battered by Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've settled down, certainly with the new owner coming in.
They're like that Todd Bowley. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's amazing. Like, he's just come in and gone, I'll handle this. The rumours I've heard about him, like, I heard a rumour that they'd agreed a fee for De Ligt, but he didn't know
Who De Ligt was.
that you have no.
Oh,
He didn't know that you have to negotiate a contract with the player. He thought it was like American sports, where you just agree and you just buy their contract effectively.
It's not the best start, is it?
No, but there's loads of these stories about him. Like, and that's the problem, is you've got Thomas Tuchel's reputation as a manager's on the line here, and it's going to end up being undermined. And he's already quite spiky, and he's already been quite determined to talk out. So there's a sliding doors season, and in one of it, Tuchel holds it together long enough to get their act together, and that shuts the door on Arsenal, and Arsenal end up in the pits. Yeah. The other is they combust and Arsenal get in, and both the clubs go in opposite directions.
I think what they've got in their favour is they're not challenging the top 2. So I think Arsenal and Tottenham are going to have patches where they're obviously out of form. And I think if Chelsea can get it together by the end of this first month, then I think they'll be obviously well in contention. Because let's be honest, does it really matter if you finish 3rd or 4th?
No,
it doesn't, does it? It doesn't matter now whatsoever.
Well, it depends on, unless it's like last day drama kind of situation. Like, but you're right. Broadly,
I just don't think it matters. So as long as they're fighting with those other two, I don't think it's really going to matter. So I think as long as they settle down in the first few weeks, it's just, again, because it's such a weird season, it's the way the games are played. It's gonna everyone wants to get off to a good start because there's so many games in August. But I also think we're going to see a lot of strange results in August as well, which is good for Everton.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you. Can you bring yourself to say that Liverpool are going to win the league this season?
No, because they're not going to win the league.
Okay, cool. Why?
But they're still very, very good. No,
Why without just saying Man City?
I don't know. I still think Man City I think they've improved. And I know Liverpool, and I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure Liverpool have improved. Just because, and I mean this in a nice possible way, I just think that with with Mane going and Nunes just coming, that crossover period. But what I would say is, because City will have to change their style of play for Haaland, that might be the little bit of ground.
Yeah, I think the first month, 6 weeks, maybe up to 2 months or whatever, is going to make a difference. If Liverpool have got a lead over City at the end of September, I think that's how we win the league. I don't think we win the league if we go into the World Cup neck and neck, or if City are ahead.
It's really hard to judge, because you are talking about 1 or 2 games, and that's what's like scary for everybody else, is that you are talking 1 or 2 games, and you
two league games.
You're right. If City have a bad start because they haven't had much of a pre-season, then and you stick with playing people like Firmino and Jota, people who are already used to the system, then, and you get off to a great start, then it's in your hands. And of course, see, the World Cup is strange because, like, for Everton, most of our players are getting a month to 6 weeks off. Yeah. For your players and for Man City players, you're going to have...
We're actually not too bad, which is worked out quite good for us, particularly Salah not having to go, which is huge. Mane, that's one of the things of Mane going as well. Yeah. He actually knocked Salah out, and then we got rid of him and kept Salah. So Salah gets to go and put some thirst traps out there and on beaches in the Far East, chilling, watching the games on telly with a nice glass of water and his feet up. And then, whereas we're looking at Liverpool, you're talking Trent possibly, but how much is he going to play? Henderson will probably go, but again, how much is he going to play? Jota will go. He's a bit of a concern. Yeah. And there's a few. I think Nunes is going with Argentina and stuff, but there's not loads of Liverpool players out there. But City, I think there's 1 or 2 more City, but that's going to be.
Van Dijk. He's gone. Yeah. So no, it's really hard to judge, and
you just can't bring yourself to
say.
No,
I couldn't. I don't. I honestly look at your team and look at their team and go, their team are better. But I also think that, and this might have started changing after we played you at the end of the season. I always used to wonder why teams... See, I say something nice about Liverpool and this happens. Let it play out. I always wonder why teams would play against Manchester City and put 11 men behind the ball, and then play Liverpool and play with all their defenders on the halfway line, and I just couldn't quite grasp that.
No one ever does that against us.
But they did that a lot, and then when we played you last season, we just stuck every man behind the ball, and it really frustrated you. Yeah. And after that, I noticed a few more teams seem to start doing it.
That's basically what it's been like playing against Liverpool.
But teams just seem to like...
That's because in your head, everything positive for Liverpool is seen as the work of Satan.
It's not.
So like there can't possibly be things go. Yeah.
But I was about to pay you a compliment, and you stopped it in mid-flow. So, but I always find that City, just there's so many games in the season where they're trying to score that perfect one goal to get them the win, and the opposition scores, and then they struggle. Whereas Liverpool just have a brilliant tendency to just roll over people.
The key to beating City is you stop them scoring in the first 15 minutes, then you stop them scoring in the next 15 minutes, and then the 15 minutes after that. And if you can get to half time, it sounds stupid, but you're closer to taking something than you'd think.
See, that must have been lost in translation for us, because we allowed them to score every 15 minutes. So I don't know where Rafa must have just got that wrong when we went to the Etihad last season.
You had the basic structure right, but not quite the right answer.
Must have been lost in translation. Yeah. No, I think obviously that's where why they've brought Haaland in, isn't it? To get that one killer goal that Aguero used to get them. But I honestly wouldn't be able to say who's going to win it, because I just think you're both so far away from everybody else by a mile.
And that's the thing. It's awkward having conversations with the fans of those teams who are down, because it's like it sounds sorry, but the gap is so, it's like 22 points down from Liverpool to third. It's too big a gap for one team.
It's almost like you should have your own Super League. That's what it feels like. It feels
like
you should just go away and have your own Super League.
No, we're fine.
I think
we'll stay. It's fine. We'd much rather be in this league. They could give us more money for being in it. That'd be great. Which one signing that's coming to the Premier League as you most impressed or are you most jealous of, do you think?
Jealous? God, I'm jealous of everybody signing players. I honestly don't really look at anyone and think,
You excited to see Haaland in the Premier League?
Yeah, but the same way, I'm excited to see like Koulibaly.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see a player that...
I'm excited to see Mohamed Salah run at Kalidou Koulibaly because that normally is hilarious.
Well, I'm excited to see someone that's been talked about for a long time coming to the Premier League just to see what they can do. I'm excited to see what Haaland can do. And there's players that have signed for other teams that you look at and think, well, why didn't we go in for them? I mean, there's too many to mention for Everton, but yeah, I just find that it's going to be a very, very strange season.
It's going to be the maddest season of football since last season and the season before that. Really,
last season.
Perfectly honest. Yeah. So yeah, right. Let us know in the comments a couple of things. Where are Liverpool going to finish? Where are the Ev going to finish? Who is decided that most excites you that's come into the Premier League? You can be as obvious on the head as that with Erling Haaland. You can be hipster. Be hipster. I'm excited to know some more names. If I'm being perfectly honest, who do you think is going to shock the world? Who's going to have a season beyond the pale? Who's going to go above and beyond what normal people would think is going to be Crystal Palace, Brighton, Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa? Let us know.
Is that what they're called now? Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa?
TM.
Can you not call them just Aston Villa? If it's a former player, you have to give them the full title.
100%. Isn't it David Moyes' West Ham?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't call them that.
Yeah, sure. Frank Lampard's Everton
Nobody
Football
calls
Club.
us that. Nobody calls us that.
Tory Frank's Everton Football Club.
I'd like to think since he's been around L4, he understands the issues with the common man now.
He hasn't wound his window down in L4 once. Doesn't want to get the smell of the commoners.
Listen,
on him,
I've heard his missus wants to do a Loose Women live from the Gladys Street.
Yeah, sure, why not? Brilliant. Right, sound, yeah, drop a like on the video. Subscribe, check out Toffee TV as well. And of course, as mentioned, next time you're in Liverpool and you're looking for something to do, whether you want to go some sightseeing, come and get one of the most staggeringly amazing views you can get of this beautiful city of ours. Come to the Royal Liver building, the 360 tour, RLB.
You get to see Everton's new stadium getting built. It's actually real.
Is it those girders and stuff over there?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.